And John, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I have to say, similar to what I said to your CEO, Matt Goldberg, when I talked to him at the Phocuswright conference last November, this is actually not your first time at a Phocuswright conference, and we actually have proof.
Oh.
I think we're going to see some proof here in just a second.
I think I know the photo you're going to show. It's not a good photo.
Here we go. So there you are, 2009 at the Phocuswright conference. I know that on behalf of my colleagues in marketing at Phocuswright, they would certainly really appreciate if you might want to take this opportunity to say it was that appearance at Phocuswright that kicked off your trajectory, and now here you are on center stage as Chief Growth Officer.
It also inspired a new haircut for me too, just to be clear. It's fantastic to be back at Phocuswright, and I've been in and out of the travel industry for about half of my career, and I love it. And so it is so nice to be back here, back in the sector, and I couldn't be happier with my position at Tripadvisor. It's an amazing role, an amazing company, and
wonderful.
I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Well, we'll talk quite a bit about what you've been doing since you joined. So, certainly a lot of changes at Tripadvisor in the last year. Founder Steve Kaufer stepped down as CEO. Matt Goldberg joined last summer. You came on in November as Chief Marketing Officer. I understand your title became Chief Growth Officer in March.
Correct.
So let's just talk a bit about Tripadvisor, the world's largest travel guidance platform, 26 languages. Is it 500 million monthly active users? Is that an
Ish, yes.
Okay. About 1 billion reviews
Yep.
and opinions on Tripadvisor. So certainly, let's talk about content, because that is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
There's more competition out there today than there was when Tripadvisor was founded, obviously 23 years ago. Not just the OTAs, you have TikTok, Snapchat, blogs. What can Tripadvisor do to stand out from that noise and to really create more consumer engagement with content?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the travel industry has certainly changed a lot over the past 23 years since our inception, and we've helped change it. We've helped evolve it as well. So as you talked about, we have well over 1 billion reviews on our site. We have robust communities, multiple languages, multiple countries. But as the traveler needs continue to change, we have to change with them. So our strategy that we put in place is really going back to basics, as we talked about. It goes back to our fundamental elements of what do travelers want, and it really comes down to 3 things. One is focusing on travel guidance tools and platforms. How do we help travelers better plan and have trips both in the planning process and in destination? So we're leaning into that with trip planning tools, which are going to be incredibly important moving forward, and I'm sure we'll talk about Gen AI and how that contributes to it.
Yep.
Content is incredibly important. So in addition to our ratings and reviews, again, which is our foundational element, it's how do we add more content that is equally as relevant and in demand. Itineraries, highly personalized, all of those things that really make the difference. The second part for us is around engagement. How do we engage our customers in a way that we've not done before, and we can do more with it? And data is the key enabler for that, which we can talk about certainly in depth, because it is all about data. And if we do that, it unlocks a lot of value for our partners across all of our partner tools.
Okay, so let's talk about a few of those. So content, are we talking short form video there?
Content is, content's a broad term these days, right?
Yeah.
So yes, video, it's sight, sound, motion. So it's video, it's images, it's obviously the written word, it's community, it's connecting with people like you that have, again, bringing the data component, that have like-minded sensibilities or like-minded travel needs, traveling with 3 kids, 4 kids, traveling with someone who's vegan, all of these things provide that content vehicle. And so we're leaning into that, as well as we are talking a lot about itineraries. We're really excited about how we can better leverage, again, data, content to provide relevant itineraries for you on a highly personalized basis.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute, because when I hear itinerary, I do think generative AI. So,
all right.
We want to make sure they're hearing everything.
Of course. Should we just start over?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
So content, okay, engagement. What more can you do, if anything, to reward engagement, to get people to leave reviews and ratings? Because, I'll be honest, I have been a long-time Tripadvisor as far as looking at some of the reading reviews and things, but I don't leave reviews.
Well, you should. We need to be a better job of incentivizing you. And some people love leaving reviews and having their stamp. Some don't.
Yeah.
Same thing with social media. Some folks like to post. Some folks like to be voyeurs. So we've been excellent at this for a very long time. We can do better. And so part of that is rewards and recognition. How do you incentivize people to leave a review, make them feel good about it? And incentives can mean multiple things. It could mean a monetary reward. It could mean you earn credits. It could mean you just get a badge and recognition, and somewhere on that spectrum is the optimal balance depending upon each individual. So that's what we're leaning into. Another component is memberships. So we do have a robust membership program.
Yeah.
We have about 130 million members. That is our free membership program. We have a subset of a paid membership program in the US, and we're scaling that. So we're looking to enhance our membership program to incorporate all of that, to really provide an engagement vehicle to drive it. But again, I'm going to go back to data for a second. The more relevant I can make it to you, Mitra, as an individual, the more incentivized you'll be to come and post and share and become a continued super user on Tripadvisor.
Yeah, and because when we talk about that free membership, that's truly just someone that has kind of created an account. So when I go onto Tripadvisor, it recognizes me.
Good? Better? All right. Did you hear anything that I
Boris.
just said? Sorry.
You know, we're the first session.
It's all right. Oh, God.
We're the guinea pigs. So, yeah, 130 million members right now. So, yeah, give me an example then of what you could do for me if I'm one of those people. Like, what might you be able to offer?
Sure. So 130 million members, that's information you have to give us to become a member of our community, to give ratings, reviews, and to share. So, and obviously transact.
Yeah.
So that is what is critically important. The way that we do this now is, one thing that we're doing is we're overlaying a new CDP, customer data platform. So we're going to really be able to store all that data and harness the power of that data to communicate with you. So what that membership means is you will get rewards and recognition as we start to develop our membership program. This is not so distant future state. We do a little bit of this now. We're going to do more of it in the future. And with that, the more data you give us, the more we'll be able to interact with you again on a highly personal nature. So it really becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of the more you contribute, the more status you get, the more you can earn, but also just the more we can better interact with you to make you a better traveler.
And so then a subset of that is your Tripadvisor Plus paid membership subscription.
Correct.
You know, what's happening there?
So that is a US only program. We believe that paid memberships has a place in our overall membership program, but our focus right now is creating the most robust free membership program to get as many people globally involved as possible to really add to that Tripadvisor experience. So the more we do that, the more content, the more engagement, the more community, the more output. So again, it's that wonderful flywheel, and we do think we've proven that there's an unlock vehicle for a paid membership through Trip Plus that provides discounts and access. So we're excited about continuing to accelerate that.
Okay, so now let's talk a bit about, you mentioned itineraries as a specific example and something that you're really working on.
Yep.
And as I said, of course that makes me think about some of the use cases for generative AI. So I'm wondering, I've heard Matt Goldberg say that Tripadvisor is trusted more than many of our competitors, including Google. I know you're developing the plugin for ChatGPT right now. I imagine there's other work in process related to the technology. Trust is really critical with generative AI, of course. So how can Tripadvisor capitalize if you are in fact so trusted?
That's a great question. I think, obviously I would imagine that Gen AI is going to be the buzzword of the week here.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised we're 9 minutes in and we just talked about it now. So we're really excited about it. As you mentioned, we were approached by Google Bard and Microsoft OpenAI to be a plug-in partner with them, which we're really excited about. So that is very top of funnel on their platform, leveraging our brand, our content to help them better serve their billions of users around the world, which is great. We're also in the process of figuring out how we can, and I have to be careful with what I say here, how we can leverage Gen AI on a trip planning basis on our own website. So that's really exciting. We're leaning very heavily into it, and we think that there's great possibilities. Brand and content matter. So I personally believe that Gen AI is an amazing tool, and again, it ranges everywhere from it's going to be great for trip planning to the end of the world, right? And that's a pretty broad spectrum.
Yeah.
And I do think we're trying to figure out how to use it. Not we, and not just TripAdvisor, everybody. What does it mean on a consumer level? Everyone sees I'm going to London, what do I do for 3 days? And that's wonderful, but that's super top level, right? If you're going to London with 4 kids, 2 of whom are vegan, and 1 of them likes outdoor activities and 3 like arts and museum, that's a much more challenging search to do through Gen AI. We're trying to solve those problems of how to provide meaningful itineraries. But brand and content and the underlying data, I think, is what's going to be the key differentiator in that space, because it will start to become anonymized and commoditized.
I mean, there's a lot of players moving really fast with this.
Yeah.
Is there a pressure to you want to get it right, but you want to be fast?
Yes. Yes is the answer. So we firmly believe that taking your time and doing it right is better than being the first to show up. In certain times, there's just not a first mover advantage. This is a new technology. We're taking a very deliberate approach to create the best product that we can to really serve the needs of our traveler, and do it in a way that is incredibly thoughtful and very research-based. So that's the approach we've taken. So it can't wait too long, but there was no rush to be the first.
So I'm also wondering, about potentially the risk of fake reviews. We covered on PhocusWire your transparency report in April that of the more than 30 million reviews submitted last year, you found about 4.4%, or 1.3 million, which, percentage-wise, that seems fairly low, but 1.3 million reviews were fake. And of course, I guess most were caught before publishing. But isn't there a much more heightened risk of fake everything?
Yes, so we take great pride and go to great lengths and spend considerable effort and energy and dollars on making sure that our reviews, as much as you humanly can, are genuine, right? And you can, as you said, 30 million reviews, we spotted a little over 1 million of them. We identified them as fraudulent before they went live. No one has 100% hit rate, right? We have, of course, I'm sure some have slipped through, but we take great pride in doing that. Gen AI is interesting because it can pump out reviews. We know this. And we, like every other company, are trying to figure out how to identify them and flag them. And by the way, just because it pumps out a review doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad review. It could be an amalgamation of many people's reviews. Everyone's starting to deal with this. We are on the forefront, and there's a lot I can't say, but we're on the forefront of leveraging our technology and know-how, because we've been doing this for 23 years, to combat that.
Okay. Let's jump ahead. Our time is going quickly here. So let's just talk a bit about what's happening with the mobile app. I've heard a lot of talk about trying to, make that more of kind of a must-have in-destination resource for folks. What can you do there? And it seems to me that, Google's really owns that right now. So what do you do?
Google's formidable, no question. The mobile app for us is, we have hundreds of millions of downloads of our app, and we can be doing and will be doing more with it. It is the predominant tool you have in destination, right? It is the barriers to having a mobile phone while traveling globally are gone now, right? It's very easy to get a global plan. It's with you all the time. We have to be there, and I'll give some examples. If you are, if you're in Barcelona, if you're here with your family and you have a wonderful outdoor date planned and it's raining, what do, right? Your plan's completely changed. If we now have that data, and I know you're in Barcelona because you're geolocated, or I know your trip, I can then say, Mitra, it's raining. Perhaps you should try these museums instead. I know you had a Segway tour planned around Barcelona. And that removes the stress, that removes the challenges, and that is where we're aspiring to do. And again, it's a combination of taking a mobile-first approach, being in destination, and having that data set and that engagement vehicle with you as a consumer, and that trust. And that's where the brand comes into play too.
Okay. And so, that example then leads me to want to talk to you just briefly about the whole experiences space, of course, super big for TripAdvisor. I know your colleague Ben Drew will be on here later, so we don't need to maybe get into it too much, but I noticed that in the coverage, some of the coverage a couple weeks ago, I think it was, of Get Your Guide's funding, one of the headlines said, TripAdvisor rival Get Your Guide. So that certainly speaks to the growth in the experiences sector for you.
Sure.
What's happening there? And
experiences are awesome, and I use that word deliberately. It is, and we have 2 brands in the experience space: Viator, which is the leading, the global leading marketplace for experiences, 300,000 experiences, bookable experiences worldwide, and TripAdvisor, also has those experiences replicated on our site. So together, we are by far the largest experience provider in the world. Experiences are dominating the travel space. It is really our data shows it's the first thing that people look at when planning a trip of what am I going to do?
Right.
And what am I going to do could mean a couple of things. What am I going to go see? Free experiences. Central Park in New York is a great example. And what am I going to do? Bookable experiences. We are seeing a remarkable uptake in bookable experiences being the dominant force in determining where people go and obviously what people do. And Viator and Tripadvisor are just at the forefront of it. It's going to continue to grow in importance. The TAM is massive and we're all just getting started because the majority of the sector is still offline.
Right.
Which is, I mean, if you look at the sectors in the world of what is still offline and migrating online, like it's remarkable. So it's really exciting.
Can you touch briefly on, what more can Tripadvisor do to deliver high quality traffic to your partners, the OTAs, the hotels?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a wonderful virtuous circle, right? Of the more we engage our customers, the more traffic we bring to the site. Not only does it provide a better traveler experience, but it helps drive the value for our partners. So we offer our partners, our hotel partners and restaurant partners and experience providers several things. For hotels, it's our hotel meta search, which has been the foundational element, which certainly benefits from more traffic, more data, more targeting. We have other tools such as sponsor placement and business advantage, which helps hotels manage their reputation, manage their reach with customers. And again, self-fulfilling prophecy of the more traffic, the more we improve these tools, the better connectivity with data as the underlying. And then our media process, our products are amazing. We've really invested in this in the past few years. We have an in-house creative team called WonderLab that is doing amazing, amazing media programs on-site, off-site for endemic travel space and non-endemic. And that's this connective tissue, which is really, really exciting for us.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that. So that WonderLab launched last fall.
Yep.
Can you give us any sense, like how big of a business could that become for Tripadvisor?
It's projected to be a very fast-growing business and be hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of kind of our media space. And WonderLab is this amazing creative agency. So it's not just buttons and banners on the site, right? And I'll give an example of the creative approach we're taking. We did a partnership with Tourism San Diego where there are these amazing hand-drawn murals in 8 cities around the country, US. And there's a QR code, and you can see this augmented reality tour of San Diego. So it really helps an immersive experience in other cities that ties you back. Those are the kind of programs we're doing that really kind of break the mold of what media should be in this space. So we're thrilled about the trajectory of that program.
As we're getting close to the end of our time, I do want to just ask, is there any role for Tripadvisor related to sustainability? Anything that you can do to maybe nudge people to less crowded destinations or more local experiences?
Yeah. It's a great question, and I think this is something the entire travel industry needs to lean into, but I think we need to do it in an authentic way. There's been a lot of backlash about inauthentic sustainability programs out there where I could spend $1 and offset my carbon footprint on a 10,000-mile airline trip. That's not true. You can't do that, right? It doesn't work like that. So we are continually looking on ways to increase visibility for sustainable products on our site through our content. And it could be the inclusion of when you talk about kind of the green nature of hotels, the green nature of experiences. And we're continuing to do this on ways to have offset travel, kind of the impact of carbon footprints for travel. There's a lot more to come on this in the coming months. We're just not there to talk about it. We're not ready to talk about it quite yet. Yeah. But we need to do more, as does everyone in the space.
Sure. I mean, listening to you go through all of this, it sounds like there's a lot of many different things happening with Tripadvisor. Is there any risk of getting a little too fragmented?
There's a lot going on, no doubt. It comes down to ruthless prioritization. And we have, like every company that continues to grow and scale and innovate, your list of things to do is far greater than your ability to do it. So we need to continue to innovate, and our guiding post is very simple. Does it help the traveler experience, and does it aid our partners? If it doesn't hit those two criteria, we simply won't do it, or it becomes deprioritized. So that's what. That may be our cue. It's really exciting to see where we're going because there is so much to do and there's so much fertile ground. Even for a company that's been doing this for 23 years, we need to continue to innovate and find ways to delight travelers and partners.
Wonderful. So as we're wrapping up, I just have to ask, tied into our theme, travelers, titans, trailblazers, is there any area, just quickly, that you see Tripadvisor positioned to be a trailblazer again?
Well, we've been doing it for a long time. We were a trailblazer in kind of user-generated content ratings and reviews. I'm really excited to see where we start to go with our trip planning tools and technology, and Gen AI will be a part of that. But to me, it's not a singular thing. It's bringing it all together because you talked about brand trust, you talked about the content, you talked about the tooling. There can be great tools out there, but unless you have the trust and the content and the underlying data, it's going to fall short. Our alchemy is bringing it all together, and that's what I'm excited about.
Wonderful. Well, John, thank you. Please don't hold it against me about the video.
That was a terrible photo of you. I can't hold it against you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, John Boris.